This person made this comment on one of my videos, so I decided to see who this person was, and I'm going to play you their video in just a moment. And to all of you out there who thinks that, and likely you're an estranged parent, if this is what you're saying, I don't know if this person is or not. In fact, I watched one video, it's the one I'm going to play for you, and I've kind of forgotten everything that she said. So, anywhoosie, when you say this, what you're really saying is that I don't want to take accountability, and if I can say it's a cult, I can just make it not my fault. That's all you're really saying. What is the benefit of being a part of a cult where nobody knows each other and we're all alone because we have no family? That's not how cults work, okay? You know how cults work? Where you're a part of a family where the abuse victim stands up as an adult, more likely than not, and discloses, and you all stick with the cult leader who is the main abuser. That's a cult. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. Also, you're just disempowering yourself. If you're an estranged parent and you actually believe this, you have no power to make it better. And if you're an estranged parent and you're kind of about power, how is that benefiting you? You might want to think about it from that perspective. Just a little food for thought in case you're listening. I doubt you are, because you read this and you're like, yeah, right? Such a shame. There's so many estrangements that could be fixed so easily through the right kind of communication and the ability to take accountability and respecting boundaries and not treating your adult children like property that you can do anything you want to the way you did when they were younger. This is where it falls apart. You continue to try to do the same thing you did through their childhood, and you expect them just to stay when they're no longer dependent on you. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let's get into it.
I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm on the estranged parents side again. An estranged kids side again. And it's just such a painful experience. It's painful for both sides. And it seems so utterly unnecessary, because what it seems like is there is a disconnect between what the adult child thinks the parent knows and what the parent actually knows. And I just wish there was a way for the two to communicate those discrepancies. And I think that most parents just want to know. And I think that's the one thing that is a common theme, is the parents actually don't know what the deal is. Like maybe a written letter, like saying what it is exactly. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but anyway.
Wow, isn't she so bright? So she goes on my page, on one of my videos, calls it a cult, doesn't seem to have personal experience with it, doesn't know what the answer is, but she knows it's a cult. Ooh, you're a bright little buttercup, aren't you? She makes me snarky sparky. Disconnect. Write a letter. The problem with that, and maybe she'll see this video, I'm not tagging her, I'm not giving her any attention in that way, but obviously she watches my content for some reason. That's how I found her. That's how I usually find people like this, because they've engaged with my content in some way. Not always. There's plenty of videos I have that didn't occur. So before somebody, gets all like, well, you made a video of me, I've never engaged. So I am agreeing with you, okay? Look, I'm agreeing with you, an estranged parent. I used to be an estranged parent. And when my daughter stopped talking to me, I may not have known all the reasons why. I did know some of them, and I did know that I didn't deserve her to talk to me, and that she had the right to take her space, and I respected it. Lucky for me, she gave me the grace to come back and enter a relationship with me. We didn't actually talk about anything for quite some time. And then we ended up having a very big conversation around a lot of things. And guess what? I didn't go, oh, I didn't know, or that didn't happen, or I didn't mean it that way, or my childhood was this and that's why I did that. None of that happened. Because in those moments, it was about her, how she experienced things, some things I didn't even remember, was the truth. Not her truth, the truth. That's how she felt. That's how I made her feel. That is valid. I have no right to take that away from her. And the proof is in the pudding, because the last 2 decades we've had a solid relationship. Occasionally we have to set boundaries with each other. Sometimes her to me, sometimes me to her. And guess what? Here's the shocker of all shockers. We're able to respect those boundaries. And if we slip a little, we catch it and we go, I'm sorry, before the other person reinforces the boundary. Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. That's the disconnect for these other estranged parents who want to say things like it's a cult, or you outsiders who have no clue what's going on in that family dynamic and deciding it's just because the kids think the parents know something. The kids don't know anything. They only think they know something. Did you catch that language? It makes me wonder what her history is as well. So I'm guessing she's watching videos from estranged parents going, I didn't get a letter. I didn't know why. I don't know why. I still don't know why. Blah, 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 blah. But then she's not watching the videos where they say, oh, I'm never going to apologize, or boundaries. What are boundaries? A lot of times people like this on the outside will watch 1 or 2 videos where the estranged parent is saying, I don't know why. And if you keep watching their videos, their patterns of behavior tell you why. The way that they speak. And there is a certain speak that I'm not going to say cult, a group of estranged parents. And by the way, also, I know a lot of by the ways, but I've noticed that the estranged parents, when they create content, tag other estranged parents. I haven't seen that so much with the estranged adult children. So they are banding together like a cult who sees things the same way and doesn't deviate and doesn't question, because misery loves company and they love support in their misery. You know, they love to be able to go, we have the worst adult children ever, and all of these different things. If they didn't, they wouldn't be tagging each other and embracing each other the way that they are. They're saying it's support, but when I'm watching some of these estranged parents who are tagging one another, I'm seeing the same type of language over and over and over again. I will never apologize. My child said I did this, that, and the other. I didn't do that. They had it so much better than I did. They have no idea where I came from. They're saying all the things that are not helping move them forward in healing or in the rebuilding of that relationship, should they have an opportunity to do so. And here comes along this person who clearly is just watching content, taking it at face value, and not using much in the way of, in my opinion, critical thinking. I wrote my mother a 7-page letter. Crickets. I never heard from her. And I know that that letter gave her validation for what she had done to me. And it was in response to a letter that she wrote to me, by the way. At the time that I went no contact, I was in a really solid relationship with someone who had a degree in psychology, not a practicing psychologist, but a person who had a lot of knowledge, who was pointing out to me that I was just a little girl at 13 when I ran away, and that that's not normal, and that children who run away don't run away because they're bad. They run away from bad environments. He was like one of the first people to ever tell me that in my lifetime. At this point, I was like 22 years old, and I was carrying the burdens of it all being my fault. I just thought I wasn't good enough. And he was pointing out to me my mother's behaviors, some things that she was doing. I always saw those behaviors. I knew them, but he was saying, no, this is about who she is. You were just a little girl. Look at your daughter. You were just like her. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. She's good. I wasn't. He had to do some convincing in there. And as he was doing that, my mother was triangulating my children and weaponizing them and playing little games. And I start to set boundaries for the first time in my life. Don't even know where that voice came from. And as my mother saw me growing, she wrote me a letter. Part of the letter said, I'm not going to be, the brunt of your blame game for the struggles you have in life. And it's so interesting that she said that, because it was the first time in my life I was beginning not to struggle. And, we can break bread on this Jewish holiday. Just come, show up at 5 and blah, blah, blah. Just want you to know where I stand. We all struggle. I love you. We all have to survive, that kind of thing. In a nutshell, what she was saying to me was, shut the F up, be a good little girl, and know your place. And that's why I wrote the 7-page letter. And in that 7-page letter, looking back at it, I recognized that I was hoping that a light would go on for her, and that she would recognize all the pain she caused me and be my mommy finally, see me, love me, care for me. Now, and not long after when I got into therapy, I recognized I just gave her the evidence that she was looking for, because she is a sadist, that the pain she caused me has landed, has an impact, and has altered my life. She got validation and I got nothing. To these parents who say, I don't know what happened, you need to seek inside yourself and in your therapy journey to figure it out. It isn't your adult child's responsibility to come to you with receipts, because likely they've been trying to tell you, they've been creating boundaries, they've been trying to get you to see them at least as adults now so that you could have a relationship. And you just recognize the things that they were showing you as a loss of control, and went on either the defensive, or just shut down and continued to behave the way that you were behaving. It is rare that estrangements are only associated with the abuse and the trauma caused from the past. It is very common that estrangements are caused by present time behavior, in terms of treating your adult children at least as well as you treat somebody who doesn't have to be in a relationship with you. Treating your adult children as autonomous human beings, not your property, that you have the right to treat in any way that you choose, because of the title mother and father making you feel entitled to a relationship. The majority of the breakdowns of these relationships are due to the fact that the parents are so busy doing what they want to do that their adult children are insignificant in what their needs are. Respect, safety, boundaries being respected, being heard, and just being treated with basic human kindness. And not being made responsible for your emotions, and having to walk on eggshells and not be able to communicate with you, because that happens as well. You raise a child in fear, and then you expect them to one day wake up as an adult and tell you, I need you to do these things. Sometimes those things are not communicated. There are other signs, though. A child who is, distancing themselves, or they're with you, but they're gray rocking by not giving you real life information, because maybe you're criticizing them to the point where they just find it intolerable to share with you. To those parents who say, I don't know why, go to therapy. Go to therapy and be honest. Seek out information, because when you start to do that, you're maybe going to recognize that you have your own patterns of behavior that give you the reason why. And that's more common than you think, that occurs for the parents who are actually really interested in knowing what it is that they did that was so bad that their adult child decided they just couldn't be in a relationship with them anymore. And to you, person who said it's a cult, well, you're entitled to your opinion. And I did respond to you, and I asked you where you based that on and whether or not you're estranged, and you didn't respond. So I did look for elaboration on your very wise statement. It seemed like it was based on some insider wisdom knowledge kind of thing. And I did ask you, and you chose not to engage. So maybe you're just looking for attention from me, and you're not going to get it directly because I won't tag you in this video. Have a nice day, everyone out there, including you, the person who left this comment. No hate, no shade. I want to see healing and love. That's where I'm at.